Welcome to Tentative Title with Tim. This is a podcast about creativity, about process, about filmmaking, and about screenwriting. Welcome everybody back to the podcast. So today's topic, I wanted to talk about what is happening today. At least in the United States, I have no idea if anybody out in the world outside of the U.S. Celebrates this. But today is Valentine's Day. And that is great for a lot of people because you get to celebrate the love that you have with someone else. It could be an opportunity to tell somebody that, you know, you've liked, I guess you could say, that you love them. You can give them a card or flowers or surprise them. So it's an opportunity for people to share love, or at least to express their love in a more, I guess, public way, or it's more expected on Valentine's Day. But there are a lot of people who don't get to share Valentine's Day with someone else, and you know, that's fine. Like, it's just a holiday. It's like it really kind of was there to just sell cards, so to speak. But the sentiment is still good. It's still a, you know, like I said, a chance to you know, do something special. It doesn't. I hope the expectation is not that you have to do something big, but you know, just to take some time out and show the person you love that, you know, you love them. So with that in mind, I wanted to kind of touch base on a topic that I talked about before, which was romance movies. And, you know, I'm a hopeless romantic, and that's just how I'm wired. And I always love to see a love story. I always love to see people falling in love. I grew up on those movies, and there's a lot of like sentimentality. I always wanted to be in love. I always wanted to find a girlfriend and to get married and to have kids. And you know, that was just kind of like my focus, at least, you know, early on in my life. And so movies helped me, I guess, understand how to go about doing it. Obviously, you know, looking back, there's a lot of wrong examples of how to engage in a relationship with somebody, especially if they, you know, if you're getting to know them. A lot of the romantic comedies, a lot of the romances, like, they obviously take liberties because there needs to be some kind of great gesture. There needs to be this idea that these two people are going to end up together. And, you know, us as viewers, like, we want that to happen. But those stories rarely translate into reality. And you know, so I think, you know, a lot of people understand that it's purely a fantasy, and that to expect a romance that you see in the movies is impractical and will almost never ever happen. But to kind of go a step beyond that, there are movies that have love triangles, and that is obviously where there are two characters who are trying to, you know, I guess, secure the love of one other character. And there's this kind of, you know, back and forth. You know, the one character who the two other characters are trying to win the love from ends up going back and forth between the two of them because of any number of reasons. Like, they're not sure, or one character gives them something that the other character doesn't, and so they end up going to one character for something and then going to the other character, and there's this kind of love, you know, push and pull that happens. But by the end of the film, one of the characters is, I guess, chosen, and then those two, the main character and the one that's chosen, ride off into the sunset. But are we expected to believe that the two of them are truly in love? Are we expected to believe that their love is going to transcend all troubles in the future? How do we know as an audience that the main character who chose one of the suitors, one of the lovers, is not going to suddenly turn around and find love someplace else because they have found something else in a future character that this current character doesn't give them? And I think that's kind of a fallacy in the love triangle trope, because of the fact that we never truly believe that the conclusion of the story, the love that's found, is actually real, because there's always that potential that another love triangle is going to prop up somewhere in the future. And this conversation came up between my wife and I because she watches a lot of she watches like the Anne of Green Gables and like a lot of these like old I guess Victorian era kind of like shows which they have love triangles in them. And she's always frustrated by the fact that, the love triangle never seems to work. And she was also a fan of like the Twilight books. She liked the movies somewhat, but, not the. She never really appreciated the fact that like there was this love triangle there because, once again, it didn't seem to work. And the same thing with like the Hunger Games. That love triangle never seemed to work. And so we were talking about it. It's like, why doesn't the love triangle work? And we came to the conclusion that we can never truly believe that the two people that end up together are truly in love. Like, as an audience member, we never believe that, their love transcends all the future problems that could happen, and how it's a very rare occasion in which a love triangle actually does work. And it comes back to the way in which a love triangle is set up and how it's ultimately resolved. Because if you have three characters that are, kind of intertwined with one another, one of them is going to have a reason to break off and either find someone else that they are in love with, through the narrative. Like they suddenly find somebody else that actually that they are truly in love with, and they get married and they have kids and they kind of go off and live their life, or the character suddenly passes away, and then that's another way to kind of resolve the love triangle. But even that can still be it can still complicate the narrative because of the fact that the main character could still be in love with that character even though they're dead, and then it ends up turning the other person into like a like a second place, like just like they settle for the other person because they're the other person that they loved. So I never really thought of love triangles in that way because you think that when you're writing a love story, you obviously have like the main character who is in love with someone else. Like it could be like male or female. The main character could be male or female, but usually they encounter somebody that just knocks them off their feet, and that other person, that other character usually is in a relationship. And that relationship, from an audience perspective, we can see that relationship that they're in is not working, and that the person that they're with is not going it's not going to work out. And in a way, it's kind of like that. That's the narrative that you want to craft is that you want the two main characters to end up together, and so you make the two main characters as attractive as you can, while making the person that is not right for the character. I know I'm being very vague and kind of jumping around, but like the other character you make them look terrible. You make them act terrible, so that as an audience we're like, oh no, don't end up with them. Like, go with this other main character who really loves you. Look, they're going out of their way. They're professing their love in very very big ways, and they really love you because like they're the star of the movie, and but if you put it like these movies obviously are fantasy, and so if you put it into the real world, it never works. That would like never work out the way that it works out in the movies. So I think when I hope that we're getting into that we're swinging back into doing more romance centered films and television. I know the market is all about science fiction and horror because you can usually you could sell those easily, and you can have them play well overseas, and I get that whole thing. But there's a part of me that misses like the old-fashioned romance. Even if it was like a romantic comedy, it never was like the romantic comedy never really made fun of romance, as opposed to nowadays where romantic comedy always means making fun of romance. And that's really sad because like it diminishes the idea that we could fall in love. It diminishes the idea that there is true love out in the world that we could find, and I think there's a lot of hope in romance, because it means that it usually means that there are characters who are selfless. There are characters who are looking after the people around them. There's so much that we can, I guess, like emulate in our own lives, and the byproduct of that is that love comes our way. People fall in love with a kind heart, and so, but so much of romance nowadays has been so cynical. They're taking reality and they're like putting it into the romance genre, and then it ends up just it just makes it cynical. It makes it sad. It doesn't make it fun. Like it does. Like you watch the modern romances, and there is nothing that is fun about watching these movies and these shows, because it's so much wants to reflect reality, and nobody really wants to watch like real romance. Like, it's, to be honest, real romance is not that interesting. It's not that fun. I mean, it is fun for the people involved in the romance, but watching a modern romance, it's like, who cares? Like, this is something that is very personal, and so I understand why the movies that were romantic up to this point they did more with the idea of like the grand expression of love, just all the things that if you pick them apart seem to be creepy. And to be fair, a lot of it stuff is, if you place it in the real world, if these characters did this at all, you would think it was really creepy. But in the context of a movie, it's romantic. It's it's a external way that the audience can see that these characters care about each other, and I don't see anything wrong with that. I think it's very sweet when you see like the old movies, and you just see these characters just falling in love, and it's great. Like, love is great, and it's hopeful, and it's positive, and it if you watch a movie that does romance right, you can walk away from that movie feeling like you can fall in love too, or that, the people are truly good, when it comes down to it. And, I think we've been so cynical about love and about a lot of things in just the structure of our lives. Like, we can look like anywhere right now, and we can pick apart any part of the world and say, you know what, this is this was designed to benefit so and so, and what's the whoever benefits is the one that gets to like make the rules and stuff like that, and it can be so cynical, and you can place that in love as well. You can say, well, that person only like is in love with so and so because of their money, or because of their looks, or because of all these external things. And you might be right. There's a lot of shallowness in the world. There's a lot of people who will get into relationships because of some kind of benefit that they're going to get out of that relationship. But when you place, when you're telling a story, when you're telling a narrative that, it is supposed to be fantasy, then, we can be more positive about it. We can show traits that are pure and true to what love should be, because that's really what it is. It's like, love should be like this. It's not like that in the world, but in this world, in this movie, in this show, this is how love is. This is how these characters express their love, and that's great. And I don't see why we shouldn't have more of that. So that's kind of like, I guess, my my plea to to you guys listening is that, I think there's still a need for romance. I think there's still a need for love stories, and getting back to my main topic of of love triangles. It's like that main trope might be something that works, especially nowadays, since so many people have chosen to either have open marriages or have multiple partners and all this kind of stuff, and it may relate very closely to their lives, and that's a part of it too. But from the standpoint of true love and romance, I don't think that the love triangle trope works. And if you are going to use a love triangle trope, then you have to be very careful about how you resolve it, and how you're able to still have the love triangle in whatever it is you're writing, or if you're like making a film that already has a love triangle in it, just being able to have the audience at the end believe in all their heart that the two characters belong together, and that they are going to be together, that they are going to have this this unconditional love that's going to transcend all of their problems. Because I think audiences want to see that. I think audience want to believe that their characters are going to be together forever, and there's something hopeful in that. But on the other hand, it's like, if your angle, if what you're writing, if what you're making is all about picking apart love, it's like, you can do that too. But I want to see more love. I want to see more romance in the stuff that I watch, and I believe that society kind of needs something like that now. Like, we need some positivity. We need to feel like the people, like that society can benefit by somebody sacrificing their having this love for somebody else, and doing whatever they can to to make sure that that person feels loved, and just like a romance, like a relationship. Having examples of like healthy, strong relationships. Like, why not? Why can't we have these things? I think a lot of people would love to see that kind of relationship. But also we're creating drama, so we need to have conflict. We need to have things go wrong. We need to have all kinds of complications happen. But we can also have characters who we know no matter what happens, they're never going to break apart because their relationship is that strong. Their understanding of one another is that strong. And, if you have two characters like that, maybe they start out in a love triangle. And, maybe one of the characters is very confused about stuff, and that's why they're going to somebody else. But eventually they understand that, that there's only one person for them. There's only one person that they can love, and that can work too. So a little food for thought. It is Valentine's Day. If you are listening to it on Valentine's Day, if you're listening to it in the future, it's let me know what you think. Let me know if I'm kind of talking about stuff you've been thinking about before, or if you've noticed the same things. Maybe you can send me some examples of love triangles that actually did work, and are ones that you knew didn't work, and you're like, yeah, that's why this movie didn't work, because the love triangle didn't work. So anyway, guys, that's all I got for today. Thank you so much for listening. Once again, Tuesday afternoons at 4:00 Pacific time, US. I do live streams, and it seems to be going pretty well. But yeah, I will be there on Tuesday for Tentative Title Tuesdays, and I hope to see you over there, and we can talk more about this if you want to. So, all right, guys, I'll talk to you on the next one. If you'd like to connect with me, there is an email for the podcast. It's tentative.title.with.tim.podcast@gmail.com. There's also a Twitter account. The handle is @title_Tim. There's also a Facebook page where you can post questions, or you can connect with me there. Thank you guys for listening. I'll talk to you on the next one.